25, I thought I'd take you guys back to 2015 when D-Rose hit a buzzer beater versus the Cavs. That was, well, let's look at it.
Finds Rose. Rose trying to get open, fires away. Bang! It's over! The Bulls win at the buzzer!
Amazing. Let's get into the review. So in my hands is a D-Rose 5 box. This is the box that we use for the Rose 5, 6, and the Rose 7s. And inside here is housed a pair of D-Rose 5 in what I like to call the cement colorway, which is basically very similar to like the colorway that he had when he tore his ACL and the Rose 2.5s. But this shoe has good memories to it, unlike the other shoe. So if you guys remember, this is the shoe that D-Rose was wearing when he hit the buzzer beater versus the Cavs in the 2015 playoff series. It was in Game 3, and that was a super exciting game to watch, man. I mean, watching D-Rose get open, and clean. Is it the father stretch out my hands, like slow down with that, like. If young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot. It's just, it's crazy, man. Like. It's a good memory. And so partially tied to that, the Rose 5s are forever linked to that moment for me, and this colorway especially too. I remember when this colorway was first shown in images, I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be my favorite colorway of that shoe. And honestly, it was. And the sad thing is that like I had this shoe, and I had a version of this shoe that was like a 9.5 that was my size. I played a lot of ball on them, but they started having some sole separation. And so because of that, I ended up, I wanted to still have a pair of Rose 5s to play in, so I ended up damaging them out, at finish line, and ended up getting a different pair to use and play in. And those that I did get, I, still kept and stuff, but I always regretted not just keeping the pair of these I had, because it was a dope car, but I could have just still rocked them casually, because it wasn't horrible. It was just a little bit of sole separation between up here in the toe box. But, able to find these on eBay years later, so I was able to get a pair. This isn't a size I would play in because it's a size 10, but it is a good size just to wear and walk around in casually. So yeah, let's talk about the Rose 5. The Rose 5 was probably one of the most interesting D-Rose shoes released at the time, because there was totally different like setups of how the shoe was based on the materials and the colorway that you chose. So like for example, this is a pair of Rose 5s. This is actually my very first pair of Rose 5s I had. And you can see that these two shoes are just very different in how they're made. This upper on both of these is using a sprint web upper, but it's different iterations of how the sprint web upper is made. The lacing system is a little bit different to how like they lace up around your foot. And the collars on them are also a little bit different too. It's weird because I kind of always looked at it as like, almost like doing a 0.5 iteration without calling it a 0.5 and just calling it to the Rose 5 across the board and just selling multiple different colorways that had different setups. It's like this is the case with them. On this model of them, this collar piece right here, where these pieces are right here, is where the GeoFit ankle pillows are at inside here. That is still the case, you could say, on like this colorway here, but it's not as pronounced as it was on that pair. Also, when it comes to this collar height, it's a little bit different because on the regular pairs, they kind of rounded it out lower, but whereas here it still comes with just a little bit higher, and it actually just kind of allows for the lace holes to be a little bit higher too, so they could tie through your tie up a little bit higher and give you a little more support. But the other big difference too comes in the form of the tongue. The tongue on here sits much higher, which also helps to give you a better lockdown around your foot compared to the other one. But it also just kind of depends like what feels best for you. The toe box here and how this upper piece is made is also different, but I didn't really usually find too much of a difference in terms of performance with them. But again, it is very clearly a difference between the two of these. You look and you see how this is basically all one piece upper, whereas this has segmentation to it, which makes it a little bit different. The sprint web on here also is much more I guess, seeable, you could say, than it is on there. Like on there, it just looks like perforations and it's mixed in with that synthetic leather upper. Whereas on here, you just basically see the perforations here and then mix with like this synthetic leather piece here that kind of actually like has almost like a cheapish feeling to it. It's not horrible, but like it's not anything great. Another big thing with the Rose 5s was that it was the first shoe to have boost in it. You know, first basketball shoe to have boost in it, that is. And at the time, they called this full-length boost. Now, I don't think people would like to call it full-length boost because it was weird because I could be mistaken, but I remember that at the time, Adidas really, for the Rose 5, 6, and 7, it was always about like how it's the first time there's full-length boost in a basketball shoe. But each time it was different iterations of it, and like arguably so was like the 5 the most full length we had got at the time? Yes. But is this 4 foot here boost right here? No, this is like an EVA, and the boost basically, you can see it better on this side. It goes up here to the 4 foot, and then here it just is mainly just through the middle of your foot to the back and your heel. I will say though, I don't care. It was way better what they had in the Crazy Light Boost. The Crazy Light Boost was a shoe that like, the boost was cool. It was a puck back in the heel. But man, that traction was, that I hated that traction. And I feel like some people didn't. Like, I think Nightwing maybe didn't hate the traction on those. But like, man, I hated the traction on those. It was nothing that I was a huge fan of. But, you know, I digress. As the Rose line would continue, the Rose, 6s would have a thicker, slab of boost, which you guys have seen in my reviews I did of that, this month and prior. And then the Rose 7s, I think, had the best implementation of boost in a shoe for basketball at the time, comparing that to, even like on the Rose 8s. The Rose 7s, again, I can't emphasize enough. Probably my favorite D-Rose shoe of all time from a performance standpoint. But let's just get back to the 5 real quick and kind of run through some of these pieces again. So you do have the heel piece back here that has the D-Rose logo on it. Above the D-Rose logo, you have the Roman numerals that spell out, 2014 and 2015, because this is the shoe that he had for that season. You also, on this model, have this little hoop here on the back that can help you, slide the shoe on. I also will say this also kind of to make them fit a little bit different with the speed wraps, which is nice. It just is one of those things that kind of sets it off a little bit differently. Derek also talks about, like, if you've ever watched that ESPN interview, that when he sees the logo here on the back, it's kind of like, it was his Batman moment. It's just like, seeing that signal in the sky, which I think is pretty dope. When it comes to the outsole, you do have the 3 stripes still, though, which I love. You have the Adidas logo there, which is mixed with that X bar for that torsional support. You have Everybody Eats, which is, a phrase that him and his friends, would say and share. The peace sign is on there because D-Rose likes throwing up peace, Derek's signature is up there on the top of the toe. And then you also have on the right shoe, Brenda, and on the left shoe, it says PJ, which I think is great because showing the 2, major pieces of his world, mean a lot to him. Of course, you have tons of different phrases that are hidden inside the ankle pillow piece itself, like, Rad standing for Reggie Allen Dwayne, no freshman. Everybody Eats is also still there as well, too. Not supposed to be here. The quote from when he was, had the Rose 3 press conference in itself. And there is also the 1.7% chance, which is the chance, it was for the Bulls to be able to get the draft pick. And, monumental being, just what his game is like and the opportunity that he has to play the game at the highest level. It's really dope to see this shoe just still, have such a special place, in my memories. And I will say, when I see other colorways of the Rose 5s, I always go like, man, I kind of really want to get those as well too. I got a bad thing about it, man. It'd be cool someday to be able to say I have the entirety of the D-Rose collection, every colorway, every opportunity I could have a different model in a different colorway. It'd be dope, but also it's a little overkill. I mean, what I have now is currently overkill, but still, I just do love this shoe. I do love the Rose line a lot. If you guys are looking for this shoe now and you're trying to figure out what you should order and look for size-wise, I'd say go half a size down. If you're going to wear them casual, you can get away with what your true size is. But I'd say go half a size down from your true size and you'll be in good shape. Especially the hooping. I have never regretted having a 9.5 in these when playing basketball. I don't care what colorway it is, whether it was one that was built like this or one that was built like the L trains. Either way, 9.5 was the way to go to hooping. The traction on these I remember was pretty great. I never really complained about the way these would grip the floor, and the cushioning was also great as well too. At the time, it was the first introduction to Boost. I didn't know how good it could get, but man, it was really exciting to see Boost in a basketball shoe after having them in the Energy Boost shoes and then the Pure Boost as well too. So super cool just to see that kind of stuff come about and happen. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you like the D-Rose 5? Is this a colorway that you guys really enjoy? Is there a colorway that you like more in this? you know, if there's a quarterback that you wish that you could have bought when they came out. Let me know and down in the comments, and, you know, share with me on IG and stuff. I really appreciate you guys tuning in the reviews. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another one. But until then, peace. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.